I want to talk about the relationship between Garbi and Lucinda. So I think the problem is that during the show, Lucinda made a lot of comments toward Garbi, and it felt like it just looked like she was always targeting Garbi, like always picking at her. And it could be how the show is edited, but we didn't see her talk or pick at anybody else. It was always anytime she had some type of negative comment or shade or microaggression to throw, it was always directed towards Garby. It was very weird. We didn't really see her pick at anybody else, and that left a sour taste in people's mouth. And I understand that and Garby came out, they did a TikTok together, and that they're cool and they're okay, but that doesn't really resolve the actions that we saw on television. And let's start with the first situation was the challenge where it was a dumb challenge where everybody has to spit in a bowl. So Garby, she's just spitting in any bowl, and I guess maybe she happened to spit in Lucinda's bowl more than once. And I'm thinking maybe there was some type of alliance going on, and maybe she wasn't supposed to spit in Lucinda's bowl for whatever reason, or people said that she was spitting in Lucinda's bowl like too much. Like, why are you targeting her? So honestly, even as a viewer, it's kind of hard to tell where all the anger came from. That's what I dislike about Love Island. They edit a lot of stuff out. Like they edit a lot of stuff out. Like if you need to edit out like most of the storyline, then they need to make the show longer than 3 weeks and show the viewers what exactly going on. Because there's some of these conversations and some of the moves that these people make that don't make sense, and then it can cause the viewers to get like very angry. So, but anyway, the problem was more so the reaction, right? So Lucinda felt like Garby was spitting too much in her bowl, and it was so much yelling. Oh my God, Garby hates me. Like I think that was the comment that kind of raised like a red flag the most. And I'm like, why are you saying that Garby hates you because she's spitting in your bowl in a challenge? Obviously, the woman is just trying to get the shit out of her mouth, and she happened. I think her bowl, Lucinda's bowl, just happened to be the closest bowl to spit in. So then there was all this anger and frustration thrown at Garby during the challenge. She had multiple people yelling at her, screaming at her. Lucinda was yelling at her, and then Garby's own partner, Kendall, was yelling at Garby. I think Isaiah was. I don't remember if Isaiah was yelling or not, but it just felt like they're doing a challenge. It's the heat of the moment. Garby's there trying to do her best. Everyone's trying to do their best in the challenge, and then she has multiple people yelling at her. Why did she do that? Why did she do that during the challenge? Okay, bam, the challenge is over. And then they're still talking about it. Like for some reason, they were so hung up on blaming Garby for this or blaming Garby for that. And it was just so weird. Like, I don't know. Like they kept talking about it. I was like, why did Garby do that? Garby, she made so many negative inflammatory comments about Garby. So this is not even a microaggression at this point. This is a macroaggression, right? And like, it was just too much. It was too much. After the game was already over, they were still basically saying that, Garby, basically saying Garby's a mean person, Garby's targeting me, Garby hates me, like she has it out for me, over spitting in a bowl during a challenge. Like it was very, very extreme comments for the situation. Then her Garby's own partner, Kendall, your own partner in the game who's supposed to have your back during the game, then he pulls her aside and he says he wants to have a conversation, but it wasn't really a conversation. It was an interrogation. Like he kept asking her the same question over and over. Why did you spit in her bowl? Why did you spit in her bowl? That's Lucinda's my best friend. I love Lucinda. I like, what the fuck? I love Lucinda. She's my best friend. Why would you do something like that? It's a fucking challenge and it's fucking spit. Are you kidding me right now? And it wasn't a conversation. He was berating Garby and interrogating Garby over like a challenge, over a silly situation. That's why she walked away. And then her own partner Kendall continued to talk trash about Garby behind her back to Isaiah, saying like, "Oh, I can't be with I can't be partnered with somebody who's gonna walk away when we're having a conversation and all that." Still talking, they were literally talking trash about her for like 24 hours straight. It was disgusting. And the next day, Garby ended up apologizing, but I'm like, there was nothing for her to apologize for. She wasn't being mean to Lucinda. She wasn't being evil to Lucinda. She was spitting in whatever bowl was the closest to her. And it was ridiculous. But anyway, Garbi did apologize and they smoothed things over. And and then after that, there was still tension going on. So even after that situation, the next situation was um oh, okay, so Kendall ended up getting eliminated from a because of a duel, and then basically Garbi was doing her own thing, and then Lucinda was sitting with her. Oh, who are you gonna couple up with next? Are you gonna couple up with Casey, who's the new bombshell in the house? And she was like, I'm not gonna tell you. What? You're not gonna tell me? Oh, I should be scared of you. And then I think Garbi said, "Yeah, you should be." Because I think Garbi was catching the shade and she was throwing it right back. But that right there was I would say that was more of a microaggression. The first thing with the Garbi hates me, that's definitely like a macroaggression. They were literally verbally attacking Garbi over nothing. And then now it's microaggressions like, oh, I should be scared of you. How come you don't want to tell me who you're going to couple with? Like, who the fuck are you? Why does Garbi need to report to you to tell you who she's going to couple up with? You're the competition. She's trying to beat you in the game for $250,000. She doesn't have to tell you her next move. And then and then and then I guess and then Garbi's having conversations with people, right? Because she's single, trying to figure out who she's gonna couple up with next. So she goes up to like the balcony with Casey to talk, and then Lucinda goes, "Oh, there they go. Garbi's going to talk about the challenge, or oh, they're going up there to talk about strategy." I'm like, "No shit, bitch. You're on Love Island Games. Everybody in that house is talking about strategy. Why are you calling out Garbi?" Like it was just, and then the third situation, which I think is more of a macroaggression, right? Lucinda was targeted Garbi to get kicked out of to be vulnerable, right? To get kicked off the show or to get dumped from the island. They did this like little challenge, and whoever's like little bucket that you put the ball in, then they would be vulnerable from getting kicked off the show. So then obviously Lucinda was targeting Garbi to get her kicked out. And I think also one of the reasons is because Garbi is a good competitor. So she is a strong competitor. And then number two, the reason she wasn't in the larger alliance either. So yes, that makes sense why Lucinda was targeting Garbi to be vulnerable. But that's not the only reason. There's some type of personal jealous. I don't know if it's jealousy. There's some type of competitiveness that Lucinda feels against Garbi. Maybe I don't know. Maybe Lucinda finds Garbi attractive and is jealous, or maybe she's just jealous of Garbi from like a competitive standpoint because she's good in the games. Maybe she's there's something about Garbi's personality she doesn't like, or something about Garbi's person. There's some, I don't know what it is, but the tension is coming from Lucinda towards Garbi. It's not Garbi back towards Lucinda. It's just radiating from the screen. You can see it. And then so anyway, Garbi is vulnerable, right? So yeah, the game goes on, and Garbi does end up being vulnerable, and then she's no longer competing in the challenge. The challenge is still going on. And Lucinda says, "Oh, I have to pick another couple to make vulnerable. And if I could make Garbi vulnerable, if I could pick Garbi, I would." I'm like, what? The girl is already vulnerable, and like she's still on your mind to get her kicked off. Like, see, you're still talking about her. She's already vulnerable. You need to pick somebody else to be vulnerable. Why are you even still thinking about Garbi? It's like Garbi lives in this woman's head rent free. So you know what I mean? So that's the reason why people have smoke for Lucinda. The smoke is justified because it wasn't just microaggressions, it was macroaggressions. And, if Garbi wants to, kind of like forgive and forget and do TikToks with Lucinda to show that, there's no bad blood, then that's fine. And I know Garbi doesn't have any bad blood. But I mean, the bad blood is coming from Lucinda. And if Garbi doesn't want to call her out on it, and that's her prerogative. Now, also, Garbi is from Belgium, so I don't know how Black people typically react to microaggressions and macroaggressions in Belgium. It could be very different because in America, I think in America, we're more tit for tat. You know what I mean? Like if someone is throwing shade at us, Black Americans, like we're going to throw shade back. We're going to match, we're going to match energy. We a little bit more petty, and we also speak up more. Like we still have, our ancestors who rebelled. We have our ancestors that, were the Black Panthers. We have our ancestors that, talked back, fought back, did all the civil rights and things like that. So we do have like this energy of rebellion in us that maybe in Black Americans that I think maybe Black people who are living in other countries, especially living in a European country, may not have. Maybe I'm just pontificating, but maybe Black people in Belgium feel like they have to be be small, right, and not speak up if people are being like microaggressive towards them. So I don't know her experience, but I could see that being the case as to why she's kind of not addressing how Lucinda talked to her. But the way Lucinda and Kendall talked to her was very nasty. And I know Kendall apologized too. And the funny thing is about the final mega duel challenge where the islanders that were eliminated from the show, they had to stand behind the person that they wanted to give the 250K to, and then that person would decide if they're going to keep the 250K or divide it with their partner. And everyone stood behind Isaiah. So Isaiah had 12 people standing behind him, and Lucinda only had 5 people standing behind him. And then what do you know, her best friend Kendall didn't even stand behind her. She kept talking. They both saying they're best friends. I love my best friend Lucinda, but guess what? He didn't even stand behind Lucinda. He stood behind Isaiah. And then Tyreek and Toby are supposed to be like her friends from knowing each other in the UK. They didn't even stand behind her for the 250K. They stood behind and Isaiah. So I'm very curious. I haven't watched any interviews, but I'm very curious as to the reason why Kendall chose to stand behind Isaiah instead of his best friend Lucinda, who he loves so much. He didn't stand behind her. So I wonder if they saw the I wonder if when they were eliminated, they were watching the show and maybe they saw Lucinda's nasty behavior towards Garbi, and maybe that's what changed their mind to stand behind Isaiah. But yeah, it was very interesting that the people that she said that she was the closest to didn't even stand behind her for the money. So I think that says a lot about her personality, right, compared to Isaiah's. There's something that is about Isaiah that the Islanders, like the majority of the Islanders, liked more. 12 people that they didn't fuck with Lucinda in that way to stand behind her for the money. But that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for listening.